The following interview is being conducted as part of the Price of Freedom Oral History Series, sponsored by the Madison County Military Heritage Commission. Our goal is to inform the public of the sacrifices made by veterans in our community on battlefields around the world. Each veteran interviewed received a Valor Award for their heroism during combat and is a member of the Military Heritage Hall of Heroes. We wish to thank the Huntsville School System and the ETV Broadcast Center for their help in presenting this Military Heritage Program. Hello everyone. Our guest today is retired U.S. Army Colonel Ron Funderburk. Colonel Funderburk served 33 years in the Army. That included time in the National Guard, Reserve, and active duty, both as an enlisted man and an officer. He is the recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross for his heroism during the Vietnam War. Ron Funderburk was inducted into the Hall of Heroes in 2021. Ron, it's a pleasure to have you with us today, sir. Thanks for your time.
Thank you much, sir.
Well, we always like to start off with where the veteran is from originally. You're a Texas native, Lone Star State. Tell us a little about your upbringing.
Let me bring up something first.
Sir.
This is the medal that they give you for the Hall of Heroes.
Yes, sir.
Autographed, engraved, the whole bit. Very proud of that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I grew up in West Texas, small town. My father was the principal of the junior high. We had a small farm, about 60 acres. So I was in town and country boy all at the same time, sometime in the same day. I already had an interest in aviation. It just something that hit me.
Did you see planes flying over and that sort of thing? And that, you know, like when you're a kid, you know, wow, I'd like to fly one of those.
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
There was a Goodfellow Air Force Base in San Angelo, and they were teaching bombardier, and they were flying B-25 aircraft, some of them really low, and some of them in the sky, several at a time. And you bet, you know.
Yeah.
This is
wow,
what
I'd like to do that.
I want to do that.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
There was a small airfield that was a World War II training base. And I used to go out there on a regular basis, sweep the floor, wash the aircraft, wax them, wax the windows, you know, just being around them.
Yeah. Cleanup man.
And he, exactly.
Right.
And he would give us flights. He'd take us up. He'd let us take off. There were three of us, three boys.
Yeah.
He'd let us take off. They'd never let us land. Later on, I found out why. Because the plane wants to fly.
Right. Well, and that was a lot of fun. That's even spurred your interest even more, right?
It did.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Now, how old were you? Like 15, 16 in that time frame, or age group? Is that right?
I was 15, 16. I had my own little car.
I see.
I had a Model A Ford, and we could drive out there in it. And
so that interest stayed with you, even when you were growing up and got out of high school, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Now, did you go to college after that, or did you go into the Army, or what was the situation?
Well, they had a draft back in those days. And if you joined the National Guard or the Reserves before you were 18 years old, you were deferred from the draft. Okay, I joined the National Guard when I was 17. Okay, that put me on a non-draftable status. And there was a lot of people being drafted at that time.
I see.
When I got into advanced ROTC at college, they moved me from the National Guard to the Reserves. And of course, once I was commissioned from ROTC and went on active duty, it wasn't a problem anymore. I didn't have to worry about the draft. And
so you had some experiences with the draft.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, they're proud to see you go into service, right? I mean, get rid of you, I guess, is sort of. So tell us about your training. Where did you go for your training and so forth?
Long story. I went to Aberdeen Proving Ground initially because I was Ordnance Corps. And then I came to Redstone Arsenal, and we studied in the maintenance course the Redstone rocket, the Corporal missile, Honest John, Little John, and the lacrosse.
I see.
Some of those nobody even knows about anymore because they've been out of the system so long.
That was in the early 60s or late 50s?
That was in 60 and 61.
I see.
And I was here at Redstone for a little over 2 years. Then I went on a branch detail to field artillery and went through the field artillery school. And all those years leading up to being in the field artillery, I'd been reading books, reading tech manuals, fine print, and I had eye strain. When I got in the field artillery, instead of looking at close work, I was looking way over yonder. And the eye strain went away. Did an annual physical, and I was 20/20 in one eye and 20/15 in the other, which is more than enough to qualify you for flight school. Run, do not walk to the flight surgeon, get a flight physical, fill up the application. Now I'm on the way to fixed wing flight school.
So that was, obviously you wanted to get into aviation, but you couldn't do it before because you had some eye problems. So
that is correct.
Right, yeah. So where did you go for your first flight training? Where was that at now?
I went to Fort Rucker.
Okay.
Fixed wing. And once I left Fort Rucker, I went to Verdun, France, flying the Otter, which is the Army's largest single-engine aircraft.
Yeah.
105 knots on a good day with a tailwind. Ugly.
Bulky.
But it was a good airplane.
Right, right. Yeah.
It could get us into and out of small airstrips. And Verdun was a major depot. And they'd load us up with supplies and equipment to be taken out to the field. And we'd fly out to a unit in Germany.
I see.
And drop off those parts that they needed right there in front of them. And this made us quite valuable.
Yeah. Now, when you were growing up, you were flying fixed wing. What was it like, Ron, flying your first helicopter? I mean, it's different from a fixed wing aircraft. Tell us about that experience. And
a fixed wing aircraft wants to fly itself. You got to land it, but it wants to fly itself. Stable.
Right.
A helicopter could care less. I mean, it is bound and determined to do its own thing.
Full-time job.
Full-time job. You have to control it all the time. Some of the newer birds that they have now they've smoothed that out some, but the aircraft I was initially flying, you had to constantly be on top of it to make it do what you wanted it to do.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Ron, going through your schooling at Fort Rucker, I mean, there's probably a lot of guys that maybe don't make it, right? I mean, it's a pretty difficult training series down there.
We started with 126 students, graduated 80-something.
Wow, yeah.
Some physically did not have the ability to fly the aircraft.
I see.
I mean, the depth of field of depth of vision, just several different factors would come into it.
Right, yeah.
For instance, right now, I could not fly any kind of airplane because I've lost the use of one eye.
I see.
Okay, I have no depth perception. And
That's a big factor.
it's a huge factor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not necessarily where you're flying, but when you land it.
Right. Now, when did you go, did you go to another duty station before going to Vietnam, or when did you go to Vietnam?
All right. When I left flight school, I went to Verdun, France.
Right.
And I've already talked about
What you did there, right?
like what we did. I went off on a TDY trip, hauling bag and baggage. Came back, and just about everybody was gone. And I had a set of orders saying, you're going to Schleichheim, Germany to learn how to fly a helicopter. Well, the next thing I know is I'm there. I know what the next step is. I'm going to Vietnam.
Right.
So I contacted my branch, Field Artillery branch, and asked to be assigned to a specific unit, which would allow me to get credit for both aviation and field artillery. And it was in the 1st Cav Division. And I did 60 hours in an H-13 H model and 25 hours in a UH-1. And they said, you're qualified. Go forth.
And that's when you went to Vietnam.
And I went to Vietnam.
What was your impression when you first got to Vietnam, Ron?
Hot, smelly.
Would you go into Tan Son Nhut, that area, around Saigon?
I went into Pleiku,
Okay.
up in the mountains.
A little cooler there,
It was cooler,
right?
but it was still sweaty. They had a little repo depot set up there, and all the new 1st Cav people were coming through Pleiku.
Okay.
And then they'd take us back down to An Khê and then divvy us up where they wanted us to go.
Yeah. Well, okay, now what outfit were you in when you first got there, and when did you start flying combat missions?
I was with the 2nd Battalion, 20th Artillery, which was the general support artillery for the 1st Air Cav Division. Unique in its character. There was only one of this top unit in the Army at that time.
I see.
When I got there, they gave me a helmet, gave me the chicken plate, which was, a
Protective armor.
protective armor,
Right.
and went out on what was supposed to have been a training exercise. It ended up being a fire mission. And with us shooting rockets and then the bad guys shooting back at us. My first hour in Vietnam, I can say I was in combat.
You had to look at that experience real quick when you're
oh, yes.
thrown into a firefight like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Wow. So it's pretty much pretty active after that as well, right?
It was hot and cold. Some days
Get a lot of rain in that area?
constantly going. Other days it was no action at all.
Yeah. Get a lot of rain in that area as well, Ron?
When the monsoon hit,
Right. Now, was that downtime then? You couldn't fly at all, or you fly some missions, or how did it work when it was real rainy season?
the only time we did not fly was when there were typhoons,
I see.
hurricanes. And we would move the aircraft inland because most of our missions were along the coast in what was known as the Bong Song Plain. And it's a beautiful coastline, gorgeous. Panama City should be so lucky. I mean, it was gorgeous. But just a regular monsoon where it's just raining, we flew.
Now, what kind of helicopter or helicopters did you fly there, Ron?
I flew the UH-1B and C helicopters. Eventually they got the Cobra in the unit just as I was leaving. But the B and the C model were shortened versions, I should say, of the troop-carrying helicopters.
What year now was this? You're in Vietnam. What your tour was? What year?
67.
67. It's pretty active then. Pretty active.
It was very active.
Yes, sir.
And there's lots of North Vietnamese forces moving around.
Mm-hmm. Very active in those.
And very
60s,
active,
70s.
and we could go out and find trouble anywhere we wanted to, just about.
You go out and pick a fight anywhere.
This was being built up for Tet 68.
All right.
I mean, the forces were there. Nobody would believe us, but we could go out and find trouble.
Anywhere you wanted
Anywhere.
to. Ron, what about the accommodations? It's not like a five-star hotel, right? I mean, living conditions weren't up to par, maybe, for what some people might.
But we had
hope for.
tents that we could set up.
Yeah.
And the first 2 or 3 nights that we were in an area, we would put the tents up, sandbag around them, and that was home. By about the 5th or 6th day, we started taking shape. Remember, helicopters, they need a fixed base to operate out of. It needs maintenance that has to be performed. You got to feed folks, and because we are basically defenseless by ourselves on the ground, there was usually a infantry company that was with us.
Right.
And we fed them, and they loved that because we gave them hot food. But a very interesting thing, a helicopter carried 48 rockets. There's 48 rockets in a pallet. It takes 1 pallet to arm 1 helicopter. It takes 2 pallets to arm a section. These pallets are wooden boxes with rockets inside of tubes, and we'd throw the tubes out, knock the boxes apart, and then we would have an instant village. I don't know whether you show them or not, but some of the pictures that I sent will show my HOH
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
with sandbags all the way around it. You know,
A lot of work, but
a lot of work,
it
but
made a difference. Yeah.
it was home.
Yeah. Yeah. That home sweet home.
That's right.
Many of the guys.
Lots of times we would leave and go someplace else. Somebody else would come in and take over our area. Then we'd come back and they'd go away, and we'd be back where we started. And,
I see. A lot of exchanging going on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Ron, tell us about the combat action that led to you receiving the Distinguished Flying Cross.
the first Air Cav Scouts, around 6 o'clock in the morning, ran into more than they could handle. They ran into a North Vietnamese Army unit that was shooting at them, tying them up. We had troops on the ground that couldn't move forward, couldn't move back. The next thing you know, we've got naval gunfire. We've got 155 and 8-inch artillery shooting into it. We had the Air Force coming in and making their contribution. And when there was a lull and nobody was around, we would come in, and sometimes with 2 sections, and unload rockets in known target areas. Like I said, it takes a pilot for one aircraft. And normally we've got, I would say, enough rockets for about a dozen reloads. And we ran through that very, very quickly. And we started bringing in more rockets by Chinook. It was a 2.5-hour drive from a depot in a truck. So anything we did was not resupplying us fast enough.
Right.
And about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was the operations officer. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I realized our guys were beat. And I started rotating people. I did a head count on how much ammo we had. And I called the battalion and said, okay, this is the last mission we can run. We don't have any more rockets. Okay, all right. We need one pilot to fly with our smoke ship. They had an aircraft that had a big ring on the tail end of the engine and a big tank with fuel oil in it, and it could put a heavy
Smoke
layer of smoke.
Right.
Well, you know, they say never volunteer. I'm on my way back into the refueling spot. And I said, okay, I'll come over and fill the seat. No big deal. If only I'd known. By the way, this was December the 7th, Pearl Harbor Day.
1967. Wow, okay.
And I climbed in and we took off. We're all by ourselves. We don't have any other aircraft with us.
Right.
But we've been there all day long, so we knew where everybody was. So we came in and made one smoke run, and they were able to get a lot of the wounded and stranded people out of the field of fire.
Yeah.
They said, would you do that again? Okay.
You volunteered again.
And we did a circle and came back low level. And this time, the NVA was awake. The first time, we caught them by surprise. The second time, there was a 12.7 shooting at us. That's a 50 caliber equivalent. The whole line was just bright, green tracers.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
And we pulled up, and they said, we got them all but 3 or 4. One more run, please. So we made one more run. And this time, they were waiting for us. And we took a lot of fire, really messed up the aircraft. The ironic thing of it is, we had plexiglass broken all over the place. Normally, flying plexiglass cuts people.
Right.
You know,
Shatters.
shatters,
Yeah.
stuff flies. Wasn't a single person in the aircraft that was hurt.
Wow. That's something.
And
But the helicopter was shot up pretty bad.
yeah, the helicopter was shot up really bad.
They were waiting for you, weren't they?
The third time, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
But
How long a
we
process
did our
was this?
job.
Yeah. How long a process was this, Ron? Each run would take how long and so forth?
Oh, the run would only take a minute, minute
Right.
and a half. It was, I'm going to say about 400 yards along a road. And we would come in right at the edge of that road and lay the smoke down. And then we'd have to turn and clear ourselves and come back and do it again.
Do it again. Try it again. Yeah.
The ironic thing about this whole mission, I really expected everybody aboard the aircraft to be hit, hurt, whatever. We got back and we landed, and I turned around and started checking out people. Pilot, he's grinning. We had 2 door gunners.
Right.
They were grinning. And then I realized that there was a 5th person in the aircraft, and he was white as a sheet. It was the battalion surgeon, our flight surgeon. He had no business being there. He wanted to see what we'd been doing.
And you volunteered for him. In other words, he didn't know it. Yeah, I see.
He definitely saw. But that was, I remember his face every
Still
time I
remember
think
to
about
this
it.
day, yeah.
Yep.
Again, now what kind of helicopter was it you're flying at?
This was a UH-1C.
I see.
This particular one was.
So you made it out without bullet holes and that sort of thing in the aircraft, but
Bunch of bullet holes. I learned how to shoot the flex system on the aircraft, which I'd never used before.
yeah.
And I got on-the-job training on that, and apparently I was pretty good.
Ron, when you land an aircraft after a mission like that, I mean, what are you? Is it just like you got to be tense? What is like weak knee, that sort of thing? I mean, that's only natural, right?
Sometimes you just come in and you park it. Whew,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Other times you come in and, like you say, you're
Yeah. Tense.
you can't land it because you're shaking.
Right. Yeah.
I only had that experience one time. I didn't do it on this mission. It was, the mission was over with. I walked home.
I see.
But I'd had one when I almost had a midair, but me and another helicopter, and that shook me up.
Yeah. How many combat missions are you allowed to fly, or were allowed to fly at that time, Ron? And how many did you fly?
They like to keep us at 4 or less a day.
I see.
That didn't work. It was not uncommon to have 6 a day. I have flown as many as 8. On the day of when I earned the DFC, I don't even know, but it was probably 6 because I started late in the day.
I see. Yeah. Did the missions get harder each day as your tour went along? I mean, get tougher and tougher?
I went 11 months without my helicopter taking a single round.
Wow.
On the 11th month, first day, which was December the 7th, they made up for it. I mean, I had lots of bullet holes. And every mission I went on after that, I say every, almost all missions, I picked up bullets, picked up hits.
Wow.
That last month. They finally grounded me with about 10 days to go. Said, you're a danger to the crew and to the aircraft.
Yourself and others, right? Yeah.
And it was just, I have no idea why, but all of a sudden I was like a magnet. They were shooting at me.
Ron, how do you go about handling combat stress? How do you try to do that? How do you try to contain it, control it?
I don't know if you really can. I know that I had PTSD as a result of cumulative things. I know that it took a long time to break away from that. I had my co-employees after I got out of the service asking me, you know, well, what did you do in Vietnam? You know, blah, 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 on and on and on. And I wouldn't talk about it. And a bunch of us went to see a movie, Apocalypse Now. And in that movie, there is a scene where this guy's wearing a cowboy hat, a cavalry hat, and they're flying in and assaulting an area. I sat up in my chair and said, that's me. That's what I did.
That's what you did, yeah.
And then they couldn't shut me up because it was like the dam broke.
You opened up after that.
I opened up after that.
How did it change? You talked about your problems there. What did it change your outlook on life overall? I mean, you talked about, you didn't want to talk about it at first, but how did it change you for the rest of your life, basically?
When you lose someone, whether it's a car wreck or an airplane crash or they're shot in a combat action, it hits you.
Hit you hard, yeah.
I lost several friends over there. As a result, you know, I can't say that it caused any panic or anything, but it was just a deep feeling.
Right.
There goes me if the circumstances had been different.
Right. And to this day, it's back in your mind. I'm sure the thoughts come up on occasion, you know, about those days, I'm sure. To a lot of veterans, I'm sure, yeah. Ron, when you could relax after a mission, what was available to you there? Did you have a pool table? Did you have a tennis net or anything like that? A nice swimming pool or that you could go to? How did you relax?
We had an E6 who was a scrounger. We would give him a truck, 2.5-ton truck, and basically tell him, don't come back until you got something. He came back with a grill, electric grill that was huge. We didn't have a generator in the house that would run it. It was so big.
Yeah.
Next day, he showed up with a generator. We had smaller generators. There were refrigerators all over the place, radios. You had Armed Forces Network that we could listen to.
Right. Yeah.
And he kept us in supplies.
You didn't ask any questions, right? I mean, that was...
Didn't ask any questions. He'd bring some beer in.
Right.
And I'm not talking about a case. Yeah. I'm talking about a pallet.
Wow.
Sometimes it was good.
Right.
Sometimes it was Korean. And there were two different kinds of Korean.
I see.
One that was good and one that wasn't so good. But like I mentioned earlier, we had infantry all around us for support.
Right.
We fed those young men. They got
Yeah.
2 beers a day.
They had what you had and even more, maybe, right? Yeah. What about phones? Could you? I know we didn't have cell phones back then, of course. Were you able to talk to your family back then? I mean, do you have a ham radio or something like that, or what? How did that work?
The Red Cross had a stranglehold on the use of phones going back to the States.
Okay.
My father-in-law died. I got a notification by letter. I wanted to know how my wife and kids were doing.
Right.
I went to the Red Cross, and they said that was not an emergency, so no, I couldn't use their phone. Made me not a friend of the Red Cross. On the other hand, there was a group of people that called MARS, military, can't remember what it is. But they have ham radios scattered all over the United States. You can contact one of those. They're tied in with a phone, and they'll call your party, and we can talk. That's how I communicated.
That was a big help during the Vietnam War. It sure was. Yeah.
The Mars was a big help.
Ron, what was your thoughts when you were leaving? You served 1 tour, is that correct?
Had 2.
Two tours. I'm sorry. When you're leaving Vietnam, I mean, what's your thoughts when you're flying out and like you said earlier, when you finally landed the helicopter like that? Probably one of those kind of feelings.
When the Freedom Bird took off, we flew us out of Quy Nhon. Everybody was silent. It was quiet. Nobody said anything. And when we crossed the coast, yelling, screaming, hollering,
I'm away. I'm out. Finally out. That sort
stewardess, the stewardess, flight attendants going up and down the line, passing out booze.
Now, this wasn't a military plane. This is like back then it was Pan Am or United or something.
It was a
charter flights, basically.
contract flight.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And that was out of Saigon area, Tan Son Nhut, or that sort of thing, or up around Da Nang, or what? Where did you fly out of?
It was out of Quy Nhon.
Oh, I see. Okay. We talking 707, something like that, or?
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it was
I
a
wasn't
plane. You were
paying
excited
any
about.
attention. As long as the wings didn't flap,
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever been back to Vietnam since you? Do you have a desire to do so?
I do not.
I see.
I wouldn't like to see the beaches.
You talked about the beaches earlier.
But,
Yeah. Now, tell us about some of your duties after Vietnam and what made you decide to stay in the Army.
well, I enjoyed the Army.
Yeah.
When I got back after my second tour, I was the executive officer of an aviation battalion at Fort Sill. Then I had a CH-47 company at Fort Sill. And then I got drafted to work on a document which was the history of the field artillery in Vietnam. And I wrote one section, and I understand it was completely rewritten, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Kept me out of the office. And then I was transferred to the WAC school at Fort McClellan as the director of doctrine, plans, and literature, with the major additional duty of finding homes for the WAC. And I went to quartermaster, military police, transportation, engineer, finance, went to all these different places, convincing them that, hey, a young lady can do the same job that a young man can.
Just as capable.
And all you got to do is train them just like they've got to be trained before. And it frees up a man.
Did you hit a roadblock on that idea, Ron? Did you hit a roadblock on that idea?
Constantly. You know what the roadblock was? Women were not weapons qualified. So that was my next step.
I see.
Fort Benning, picked up a bunch of DIs, brought them up, set up a rifle range, and we qualified young ladies. And it was really ironic. The first one that they qualified shot better average scores than the males equivalent. Well, the old infantry colonels at Fort Benning didn't believe this. And I said, well, come on up and look at the next one. Well, they came up in force. I think there were 4 or 5 of them. And they did the same thing all over again. They shot higher scores, and they couldn't figure out why. And I said, it's very simple. Your average young man that's in the Army, you know, he's shot guns, he's had weapons, he's familiar with it. You can't tell him anything else. These young ladies have never shot a gun. They're afraid of it, and they listen.
That's the key, yeah.
And it was scratch the head, and the next thing you know, we're approved.
That was one of the highlights of your career, I would imagine.
Actually, it was.
Yeah, I can imagine. Ron, do you stay in contact with a lot of the people you served with during your 33 years?
Initially, I stayed in contact with some of the people out of the 2nd of the 20th. But over the years, I lost contact with them. Yeah. I do have a group that for the last 18 years, we have gotten together every 2 years. And had us a 3 or 4 day gathering.
Right.
We were all lieutenants together in the artillery battalion I was with at Fort Sill. Yeah. And we have lost, we initially started with about 16. We're down to, I think, I'm guessing, I think it's 8.
Still try to get together.
Yeah. We're still trying to get together.
Yeah.
The last one they had was here.
Yeah, I see. How does it make you feel when people call you a hero, when they learn about what you did in combat? Well, how does that make you feel?
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I can talk about it now.
Yeah.
Remember, I couldn't talk
Right,
about it before.
at one time, yeah.
And I'll sit there and talk about it. I don't try to glorify it because it's not something that you want to glorify. And I'm just, glad that I made it back.
Because a lot of your friends didn't make it back.
That's right.
Right. You often wonder, would you do it all over again?
With the right unit, right training, right people, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what advice, Ron, would you give to those students who may be watching this interview and are considering a career in the military? What advice would you like to give to them?
Let me brag a little bit first.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I have a lieutenant in the Navy that's a dentist that the Navy paid for him to go to dental school. He was with a Marine Expeditionary Force and was approximately 100 feet away from that explosion in Kabul that killed 13 people. He ended up being the triage for that event.
Right.
Not what a normal dentist would be doing. His younger brother is an Annapolis graduate, and he just finished SEAL school. So that's the only people out of my family that are in the military, and they've done quite well, I might add.
Yes, quite well.
If somebody's interested in going into the service, you've got Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space. All of them have specialties. Some of them may have the same specialties, but all of them have special fields that they work in.
Mm-hmm.
What the individual needs to do is to find out, what am I interested in? What hits my hot button? And then go to that school or that service and see if you can get them to send you to school, which in most cases they will.
Yeah, if you qualify, of course.
Yeah. And then you've got the GI Bill. So there's lots of advantages.
Not for everyone, but a lot of.
It's not for everyone.
Right.
But if, of course, the ultimate is going to West Point or Annapolis or the Air Force Academy, that, and chances are some of the people watching this video will do that.
Exactly right.
The rest of them, they can commit 3 years of their life and come out with a degree, special training. There's logistics, there's just many different things that's available.
Ron, tell us how you wound up back in Huntsville. You had served here in the early '60s, but how did you come to live in Huntsville again?
My employer, which shall remain unnamed,
okay,
had transferred me to Huntsville. And I wasn't happy with my employer. I had a degree in math and physics from many years ago when I went to college. I poked around a little bit. I found somebody that was willing to take on an unproven. I went to work for him. And for 15 years, I worked.
What did you do exactly?
In the tech field.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
In technical field.
Oh, yes, sir. Okay. Yeah. And you enjoyed that very much.
I did.
Now I want you to tell us about your family. Any of your children go into the military? Just talk about your family.
The only ones that have been in the military are the two that I have
mentioned earlier.
Mentioned. Right. There's no one else is interested in going. My daughter would go in the Marine Corps if she could. Didn't have some problems to keep her from doing so. But that's it. I have no one else that is going to be in the military.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So you're originally from the Lone Star State, but now you're a transplant and you love the Huntsville or Alabama area. Is that right?
I love Huntsville.
Good. Ron, you were inducted into the Madison County Military Hall of Heroes in 2021, as we mentioned earlier, and you showing your medallion. What did that mean to you?
It's an honor. There are many others that are probably more deserving than I am.
You're deserving, I can assure you. I'll say that, okay?
Okay.
But continue, please.
But you know what I mean.
Yes, sir, I do.
There's many others that are very deserving. I am very fortunate to have been, picked up and observed. Beautiful plaque, wonderful, engraved. Would I do it all over again? Yes. I was fortunate in that, and I think this is what happened. I was nominated for the job, for the award by the museum. My son carried a set of my clothes, my mess dress uniform, and they didn't have one. And they wanted to know, where'd this come from, who he was,
Who wore this? Who wore this?
And my son told him. And the next thing I know, he's asking me to fill out this form. And I didn't think anything else about it. And then, ding.
You were notified.
I was notified, you are it.
Ron, let me say, I want to thank you for participating in our oral history series, interview series, and allowing us to preserve your military service and experience for the people of this community. Thank you, sir, for your service to our country. We appreciate it very much. I know all of us do.
Thank you.
Now, if you'd like more information regarding this interview or any interview in our Military Heritage Series, please contact the Madison County Military Heritage Commission website at mcmhc.us. I'm Tom Kennemer. Thank you for being with us.